Thank you for watching, liking, commenting, sharing, and subscribing right now.
Hello world! I'm Chris Pirillo, and this is another live video, a third live video I'm doing in one day. This happens to be my initial impressions, or what should be my initial impressions, of this, the iPad Air, which I unboxed live in this YouTube channel just a few minutes ago. I had a chance to play with the Air for the past half hour, and having used iPads throughout the ages, because it's been ages now since the iPad, or seemingly ages since it was first released, and I'll dive into this a little deeper. It felt like, in using the iPad Air, like I was using a larger iPad mini compared to me using a traditional iPad. And I'm just going to show you side by side, if only for initial impressions, size differences. And that was my reaction. My initial impression was it's a larger iPad mini. And in fact, the newer iPad mini, this is not the newer iPad mini, it's the first gen iPad mini. Pretty much it's going to look the same when it is released here in a few weeks. It's just, it's interesting the way Apple's going to be moving with the iPad line. And people have to make some pretty big decisions whether they're going to go with the iPad Air or the iPad mini. In the sense of, do they want to spend more and get a bigger screen, or spend less and get a smaller screen, but just as good of an experience with the iPad? And I think the iPad mini, though I have not tried the new one, is going to be the iPad to beat. The iPad Air I don't think is going to sell as well as the iPad mini in the coming year, at least with the next gen. Now, before I do continue, I do have a couple of announcements to make. Number one, Tyler Biedka, you are the recipient of this week's free Amazon gift card, courtesy of a sponsor, Feature Points, and if you haven't used this app on iOS or Android, you should. You can earn free gift cards if you've downloaded it to your device. You can tap the link in this video's description. Go.tagjag.com/freepoints. He shared his referral link per the directions, and now we'll be getting an Amazon gift card. Tyler, email me. I know you've been a great part of this community for quite some time. You got it this week. Thanks again to Feature Points for sponsoring it. Now, we're also giving away, everybody pay attention, a $300 Apple gift card. All right, so pay attention to this. Now, we're giving away the Feature Points thing every week, but this is going to be a limited run, and you get a bonus too, including being able to do a video with me in this very channel. Now, this is courtesy of our sponsor, Citrix, because building a strong relationship with your team, if you have a team, is key for any business. And I have team members. We work remotely, all around the world and get things done for the Locker Gnome community. You need to meet and collaborate with coworkers and clients on a regular basis to brainstorm, develop quality ideas and solutions, and of course, just work better. Instead of just driving and being in the same room, it's not always practical for everybody. Gathering everybody together is easier to do online, because otherwise it can be impossible to get everybody on the same page that way. It's why we use GoToMeeting with HD Faces, a powerfully simple way to meet online from anywhere, anytime. And with GoToMeeting by Citrix, you can share screens, making it easier for your team to be on the same page, and turn on your webcam, and everybody turns on their webcam, and you can basically turn that meeting into a video conference. That easy with the app. Plus, launch or join a meeting from anywhere using your computer, mobile, or tablet. It's easy to do, even from your iPad. Yes, if you have an iPad, and I know many of you do, and if not, you're probably going to want one after watching this video. We love GoToMeeting, use it every day to collaborate and work together. It's easy, convenient. I keep saying easy. I love easy. Easy is a good thing. You can start hosting a GoToMeeting in seconds from your computer or mobile device by signing up for a free 30-day trial. I almost said free 30-day trial. No, it's a free 30-day trial. Plus, no credit card is required to get started. Give it a shot. Try it. All you need to do is visit GoToMeeting.com, click the Try It Free button, use the promo code Pirillo, GoToMeeting.com, promo code PIRILLO. Plus, here's the deal. One of you can win the opportunity to have a 30-minute face-to-face GoToMeeting with me that'll be shared in this YouTube channel. You ever wanted to do a video with me? This is your chance. You're also going to get a Apple gift card valued at $300, courtesy of the sponsor, Citrix. All you have to do to enter is to tell me what you would like to talk about in our GoToMeeting. Propose your idea on Twitter using the hashtag WinPirillo. You're not going to win me. That's just the hashtag WinPirillo. And then, of course, tag GoToMeeting to qualify at GoToMeeting. The winner is going to be announced in the November 15th live show in this channel. Apple, of course, is a registered trademark of Apple Incorporated, and Apple is not a participant or sponsor in this promotion. Still, I love Citrix, and I love iPad, much like many of you love lamps. So, in using the Air, The screen was just as sharp as a previous gen Retina display iPads. Look, I'm getting ready to watch Doctor Who season 7. I was checking out where I could get episodes online. It felt, even though empirically speaking, the iPad Air is twice as fast as previous gen iPads, didn't feel twice as fast. Gotta tell you, iOS 7, while it's smoothed out a few rough spots with recent point revisions, is still stuttery in some animations, in some scrolling. Some, not all. That's what's odd. I'll press a button, I'll scroll up and down, or let's see here, I'll open up Infinity Blade 3, and I'll pop open a screenshot, and it kind of, did you see that? To me, that was like, it was dropping frames. And I don't know why it was necessarily doing that. That's annoying to me. And I don't know if that's just the way Apple intended it, and I can't imagine that those dropped frames are something that Apple wants. Still, it's supposedly twice as fast. Empirically, by the numbers, it's twice as fast. It just doesn't feel twice as fast. I think Apple has a long way to go, and I do not want to belabor the point of beating up iOS 7, but I think that is its Achilles heel. Apple needs to optimize iOS 7 big time. I mean, we're talking about the most powerful iOS device on the planet today, and it just doesn't feel that way. Does not feel twice as fast. It is twice as fast. If anything is going to get you to upgrade from a previous gen iPad, let's say 4th gen, to the iPad Air, it's that you want a lighter iPad, a more powerful iPad. It is. Okay? It feels light, and if I hold up the old iPad, feels clunky by comparison. Even, svelte, smooth edges. You got the single speaker on the bottom on that one. You got dual speaker on the bottom on the new one, or the iPad Air. Of course, you have your cameras as well. Different color options, naturally. Let me go ahead and hold these up side by side again. About the same height, but the Air on top is just a bit skinnier this way. The bezel doesn't really get in the way. I wasn't, other than in the initial unboxing, I wasn't too put off by, let's say holding the iPad like this, my thumb going over the bezel and then tapping Safari. I can still open it. Oh, I found some Empire Strikes Back, is it Dia de los Muertos or Dios de los Muertos? Dia, okay, my wife, who is, of Mexican heritage, which means she bleeds salsa. Pretty amazing, really. Slee stacks, right there. Could this video get any geekier? So I wasn't too perturbed. I wasn't too put off by the responsiveness, generally speaking, of the iPad. It just felt to me, this is not to take away from it, it felt like a larger iPad mini, which I think is going to mean a lot for the iPad mini, because it's substantially lighter than the iPad Air, even though it's kind of odd. Why would you call the Air the Air when it would be the heavier iPad of the options? Either way, that's what it feels like a larger iPad mini with a Retina display. I do not have the new iPad mini. This is the older first gen iPad mini with non-Retina display. The differences then between, other than size, between, let's say, if I remove the smart cover again, it sticks. I mean, it's definitely on there. I mean, I'm shaking it around, nothing's falling off. That's good quality work there. See if I can angle it just so you get the reflection of the light up there. It's smaller, the iPad mini, than the Air. So it's like an Air mini. And I think more people are going to go with the mini, the newer mini. If only because it'll be $100 cheaper. It's lighter. Screen is probably more sharp because the PPI, the density would be a bit more or a bit higher than the larger screened iPad Air. But the big reason, the only reason you would get an iPad Air over an iPad mini now is that you don't have as much to spend, and, the reason you get an Air over the mini is that you have more to spend, $100 more to spend, and you want a larger screen. That's the big differences between the two. At least the current gen iPad Air versus the current gen iPad mini. Again, this is I don't want to mislead anybody. This is the first gen, but they really haven't changed that much in terms of design between the first gen iPad mini and the newer iPad mini, which has not yet been released. Is this a compelling upgrade for you? If you haven't upgraded your iPad in a while and you love the screen size, I do believe it is a solid upgrade. Larger screen, smaller size overall. And I mean, in terms of the iPad Air versus previous gen iPads, it is faster. Empirically, I'm not seeing a lot of that improvement in actual usage. Browsing the web, doing emails, playing a couple games. It's better. I just don't see it. There's too much stuttering in animations in iOS 7. Like, Apple's getting sloppy. Big time. Which, of course, now, just by saying that in public, I've pretty much banned myself from every future Apple event because they don't really like hearing criticism about their products. But it still has to be said. I don't want to lie. I don't want to mislead anybody. That is an absolute truth. It is still a good device. It is still generally a good experience. There's a lot of apps that are out there. Apple will continue to optimize iOS 7. It's just that I don't know when they're going to get to that. Remains to be seen. Let's go ahead and turn back to the community, and hopefully I will not blank out again, as I have been prone to do, or using the live stream for a little while here. Is the display of the Air right up against the glass? I don't like how I can see a gap between the glass and the display on my iPad mini. Well, it's difficult for me to perceive. I mean, I guess there's a gap. Yeah, no, I can definitely see like a gap between, but is that going to be perceivable in usage? I doubt it. I don't think anybody's going to notice, to tell you the truth. You might, and if you do, if that bothers you, well, it bothers you, but it looks it's like a bigger iPad mini. That's the easiest way to explain the Air. All right, let's see here. Do you think it was a good idea making the large painted panel on the iPad Air? Large painted panel? What? Maybe I don't understand the question. Sometimes you guys ask good questions. It's just I can't translate what's in your head, or I'm not, on the same level of you in terms of what terminology you might be using. All right. What's the next question here? I love answering your questions, by the way. It's why I love doing these videos live on YouTube. By the way, thanks again for remembering to like, comment, share, and subscribe to this channel. I do a live stream. Love doing live streams at least once a week. How much memory of the 128 gigabyte can you actually use? Well, it depends on what you're doing. But I am an app fiend. I love apps, and I've been using the video feature, recording video on the camera, which is fine. It's not amazing, to capture 1080p video when I'm doing brick builds in this channel for the Lego, or some of the Lego videos that I happen to be doing. Someone's watching on his Air all the way in the UK, and someone else is in El Salvador. We appreciate that we have people from all around the world who tune in and support this channel. What is Retina display and how does it work? Well, Retina display is just a marketing term that Apple has given for a high-density display. How does it work? Well, there are a lot of pixels, and they're crammed into the same amount of space. So the more pixels you have in the same amount of space, the sharper images and text are going to be. So the current gen iPad mini does not have a Retina display, so text is a bit fuzzier than it might be on a Retina display iPad. So that's just the easiest way to put it out for you there. So will Diana upgrade? I don't know. She uses her iPad mini, but for the most part, she's watching videos on it. And I don't know if you're going to see that dramatic of a difference in playing videos back on an iPad mini compared to playing videos back on, the first gen iPad mini versus the next gen iPad mini. It's faster, but again, tell me, what am I missing here? I mean, I know there are apps that are likely better optimized for faster hardware, but what am I missing? What do I need to be looking at in terms of performance? Because average use, I don't think the average user is going to see the big speed increase between the previous gen iPad and the new one. Maybe minor points, but I still saw stutter and lag and bugginess in iOS 7. I think it's just not optimized perfectly for the newer hardware that Apple has been releasing. But again, don't want to make this about iOS 7. You are the best. No, I am not, but thank you. Does Siri take up the entire screen? Well, let's find out. I didn't use Siri on this, but let's see. Do you take up the entire screen?
I've never really thought about it.
Never really thought about it. Here's the thing. Sound is richer than I remember using with the previous gen iPad. Let's see here. We'll do this. Here. Do you take up the entire screen?
You're certainly entitled to that opinion.
So the audio seems to be a bit more rich with the iPad Air compared to the previous gen iPad. Or you could say that the audio had a bit more treble in the previous gen iPad in terms of the speaker quality compared to the new gen iPad. Oh, by the way, you can look up Pokemon characters. What was it? Like, you can, what is the Pokédex for Pokemon? Okay, let's see. What is the Pokédex for Pokemon?
Let me check on that.
Yeah. Oh, no, that's not it. There's a way to trigger the Pokédex, even though I'm not a Pokemon fan. I don't use Siri as much as other people might use Siri. But you see, as I'm scrolling here, to me, that's not a very... It's smooth-ish of a scrolling experience, and it's responsive. But I'm just not seeing 60 frames a second there. I'm seeing a lot of jitter as I'm scrolling. This is just my eyes and what I'm perceiving here on this search screen. This is the iPad Air. They've left a lot of polish off, and unfortunately are not allowing their hardware to shine because they're crippling it with lackluster software experiences. I know I take a lot of lumps for that, but you know I gotta call it like I see it. I know not everybody sees it the same way, but that's okay. My experiences, your experiences, we can exist together and have completely different opinions, and I'm fine with that. Chris, do you think the Retina is worth an upgrade from the previous gen iPads? Depends. Really depends, man. Not everybody. No. I would not say you should rush out and upgrade. In terms of this is light years better. It depends on what you like. If what you like most was the screen size of the Mini and you didn't really notice or never had any issues with the text, some people can't even perceive the differences, even though the differences are pretty dramatic between a Retina display and a non-Retina display, certainly on an iOS device. So it just depends on what you're doing. If you're doing a lot of video editing and crunching on your iPad, and don't laugh, that's exactly how my dad edits videos for his YouTube channel. Actually, no, he uses his iPhone. He uses a smaller screen. He should be using the iPad. If you're using applications that require a lot more processing power, games or certain games, absolutely. Speed, certainly. You want a slightly better camera. Slightly better camera up there. Then there are reasons to upgrade. But the biggest compelling reason to upgrade is going to be different for everybody. You want a sharper screen? Yes, you should update your iPad mini current gen or previous gen to the new one that hasn't yet been released. Absolutely, no question there. Even though it is a bit more expensive, or will be more expensive than the first gen iPad mini was. Worth the upgrade cost, I think. Should you upgrade your old iPad to the new iPad Air? Well, if you like the iPad mini and how it looked, and you want a lighter iPad that is empirically faster, yeah, you should upgrade. Doesn't mean that you should, though. It doesn't mean that you're going to see the differences or really, if all you do is set your iPad on the table and you never pick it up and you never hold it, having a smaller iPad's not really going to be a big deal for you. It's going to have basically the same type of screen. It's just that its chassis is fundamentally different. And I got to tell you, the differences are pretty dramatic in terms of weight. And granted, that's got the smart cover on it, but even if I remove the smart cover, it's the previous gen iPad is pretty weighty, and the Air definitely feels lighter. It just absolutely feels lighter, and that's just my gut. That's what I feel is really no fingerprints. There should be. Well, no, probably not in the back yet, but there's definitely fingerprints on the screen. I can tell you that. I've been using it long enough to generate some fingerprints there. Not that I mean to do that, but yeah, it's a screen, and it's gonna gather fingerprints. A few more questions. People are asking where the fingerprint scanner is. Oh, maybe that's what they were asking. It doesn't exist on the iPad. And I mentioned that in the unboxing video, likely because of supply and cost. I expect to see the fingerprint scanner or the Touch ID sensor, much like it's on the iPhone 5S and likely future iPhones. I expect it to be on iPads at some point when they get the cost down and are able to get it in greater supply. Does that mean that the iPad sucks because it doesn't have the Touch ID sensor? No, it would have been nice to have. That would have been a compelling reason to upgrade for some people. You could wait if you want. There's nobody that's forcing you to upgrade. But if you do, my recommendation, just like what I did, I'm selling my iPad previous gen and my iPad mini so that I could afford to get the iPad Air. I'll also be getting a hold of a new iPad mini. And then I'll be doing reviews and comparisons in future videos. Maybe not live like we did it today, but certainly you could stay tuned for more information on that. Hi, Chris from Scotland. What do you think the iPad Pro will consist of if Apple releases one? Well, who said anything about an iPad Pro? Like, if that's a massive rumor. This is the iPad Air is the iPad Pro, people. This is it. I don't think that. At least I can't see it at any point in the future they're going to be releasing something greater than the Air. It's a possibility. Maybe they'll come out with an iPad that has a bigger screen than the Air. It could happen. Some people may want that, and certainly some people might buy it. Hang on. Diana My wife just sent me a photo here. Ooh, here, I'll show it on the iPad. Give me a second. I don't know what it's. I think it's a Darth Vader of some kind. Darth Vader. What is she? Honey? She sent me a thumbnail. Hun? It's so I can't see what you sent. If I blow it up, it's so blurry. Do you guys get what that is? Is that Darth Vader on a box of cornflakes? Darth Vader on a box of cornflakes? I seriously, I need to teach her how to send like full resolution images. She's shopping we're doing our grocery shopping to get it shipped to us because we can do that here in the Seattle area. Anyway, I may be getting cornflakes with Darth Vader. I had no idea. Back to the questions here. I'll answer a couple more and then we'll fade to black so that I can continue with the weekend. I've done 3 live videos today. Whew, it's been crazy. But fun, and I love doing it, and thank you again for your support throughout the day. Oh, we had 200 people who liked this video. Wow, thank you. I appreciate the votes of confidence. Is a front-facing camera better than in the iPad 4? Okay, let's see here. Doing comparisons. Okay, so you see how I had some stutter when I rotated there. Let's go ahead and swipe up. Go into camera mode. Okay, everybody smile. Oh, hang on. Let me turn the camera around. Smile. Okay. That's the problem. I'm holding my thumb over the trigger, and it's like right next to the camera button. Let me hold it. If I hold it over there, that'll help a bit. All right, everybody smile. All right, so there's that one. And now we will slide on. Pretty quick. It was quick. I'll give him that. That was a pretty quick swipe. Frame rate seems to be a bit faster. Don't you like how I just make the same face everywhere I go? Let's go ahead and see what we got here. Camera seems okay. Muddy. It always has been. But remember, the front-facing camera... Wait. This is the front-facing camera. This is the one you're talking about, right? The FaceTime camera. Muddy. And equally as muddy and clear. Maybe it's a fraction, a hair better. And it could have been because of the focal point. No, actually. Between the two, this camera... I think the camera on the iPad Air is slightly better. In color representation, kind of. Not really, though, because I'm looking at the browns on the back wall. I mean, it's definitely different between the two. If you mean the outward-facing camera, let's try that. And I think that's exactly what you were talking about. All right, everybody, smile. Okay, say cheese as soon as I get the camera set. Let's get you tap to focus here. Bam. Okay, and we'll do it over here as well. Boy, it definitely... once you hold the Air, you don't want to hold the other iPad. It's fatter. It's thicker. It's not that I don't like the old iPad, but I definitely like the iPad Air better. Definitely, like, fantastically. Much nicer to hold in 2 hands. So there we go. So it's a bit muddy. The iPad camera's never been amazing. But, I mean, that's okay. The iPad previous generation, it seemed to do fine. Then here's the Air. A little bit, I guess I was unsteady with it. But boy, I love holding the Air in my hands. This is a big difference, guys. This is another initial impressions. Holding the Air in your hands feels substantially better than holding the old iPad. Like dramatic, like see how the, kind of curves like this? It doesn't cut into your hand, but it's kind of got a sharper, more pronounced edge on the previous gen iPads. You don't have that. You've got a smoother edge on the Air. It's so much lighter, so much nicer. So much easier to hold in one hand and 2 hands. That's what it's all about, man. If that's a big deal to you, if the feel is a big deal to you, and you don't want to sacrifice on screen size, I think you're going to be very happy with the Air. A couple more questions here. Can we do that? We got time? Of course we have time. It's the internet. We have enough time in the world. What do you prefer, the full-size iPad or the mini? I don't know. I can live in both worlds and be fine. To this point, I've preferred the iPad because it's got a sharper screen. And it's been faster. That may very well change when I try the new iPad mini, which, spec-wise, is the same as the iPad Air. It's just that it is $100 cheaper and has a smaller screen size. But spec-wise, hardware-wise, it's the same. I see a lot of people carrying around iPad minis for good reason. With Apple's more recent incremental developments ever become a problem for them? Do you think there'll be a problem? I don't think there'll be a problem. I just think that, they got to keep their eye on the ball. I think they've dropped the ball in terms of software over the past year or so. Now, granted, that's another thing I wanted to point out. This is a really good example of where I think Apple is making a step in the right direction. When I launched the App Store on the Air for the first time, it prompted me to download all this software for free. All, Pages, Numbers, Keynote, iPhoto, iMovie, GarageBand, so on and so forth, which is a great way to start the user experience when no one, or if you've been someone who's never used iOS before. It's a good starting point for many, many people. Does the iPad Air have more flexibility than the iPad 4? No. It's solid. I wouldn't say it's more flexible, but it is definitely nicer to hold and carry. I'm not going to say it's a joy to carry, but you when you feel the differences side by, it's huge difference. Huge difference.